Hello friends, my great pleasure to welcome you to my channel as a graphics and multimedia. My name is Rafi Yakub right here. And in today's video, you are going to learn how to create a print-ready template, Trifold Brochure in Photoshop, step-by-step tutorial. But before we dive deep into the tutorial, if you're very new to this channel, remember to click on the subscribe. So with that being said, let's dive into the tutorial and see how you can create Trifold print-ready template in Photoshop, step-by-step tutorial. So let's begin. The first thing you want to do is to come to the Home tab right here. Make sure you click on File. And make sure you click on New. So at this point here, you have to come to the top right here and type in Trifold Brochure. Next thing you want to do is to come to the width. So in the width column, you have to type in 11.691. Then you have to come to the height column. So under the height column, you have to type in 8.267. Then you have to make sure your resolution is 300, and then your color should always be CMYK. And then you come down below here and click on Create. Next thing you want to do is to divide this page into 3. So for you to do that, just go to your toolbar right here and click and hold down, and make sure you select your rectangle tool. Having selected rectangle tool, then you have to come to the top right here. Make sure shape is checked, and you can change the color from the point here to something like this. And then you come to the workspace. Just click once on the workspace and this is going to pump up, and at the point here for the width you have to type in 3.897 inch. Then you come to height. Just type in, for the height you have to type in 8.267 inch. Okay, so you're going to have stuff like this. Then next thing you need to do is to click on OK. So you're going to have something like this. So the next thing you want to do right here is to go to your move tool right here and then come to the Home tab right here, go to select, make sure you click on all. Then you have to align vertical center, and then right here align to horizontal center. Then you go back to select, make sure you click on the select. So you have it this way. Then we can close this window tab, we don't need it again. Right now we can drag our ruler and we make sure we snap it to the center and the side of each of these page right here. The next thing we can do right here is to go to the Home tab right here, and we click on select, and we make sure we click on all. Then I need to align this to the left edge right here. And then I'll have to go back to select from the Home tab right here. I'll make sure I deselect. All right, so for us to make a duplicate of this page, we have to come to the layer right here. Where I click on the layer, and we have to look for duplicate layer. So this layer right here can be image layer. Okay, image layer. Okay, I'm going to click on OK. So the image layer can be at the top. Then we can double click on the image layer right here. We can change the color so that it allows us to differentiate. So the image layer needs to be at the background of the layer right here. So I have to drag it from the top and down to the background right here. So we have it this way. So the next thing we need to do is to go to select this rectangle one. Then we go to edit from the Home tab right here. We have to look for our free transform now, or you press Ctrl T on your keyboard, you're going to be fine. So right here we have to shrink this downward a little bit. Do proper adjustment. Okay, so once we're satisfied with the size right here, so the next thing I'm going to do is to press Ctrl key down on my keyboard, and I will drag from here. I will drag it down this way. I need this part to be bent this way. Okay, so I need it to be like this. Okay, so once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I have to come to the top right here, and I'm going to click on here to accept the free transform. All right, so at this point here we can make a duplicate of this particular shape right here. So we need this shape to be in the 3 places. So we have to come to the layer right here. I'm going to right click on the layer, and we have to look for duplicate layer. So this one right here can be rectangle 2. Then the rectangle 1, we have to fall back to the rectangle 1. Then we double click on the rectangle 1 layer thumbnail. And what we want to do right here is to make sure we change the color. So this will allow us to have a differentiation. Then once you are able to differentiate, then you have to go to edit from the home tab right here, and then you click on your free transform. Now you have to drag this to the top a little bit. So we need this to be at the top like this. All right, so once you're satisfied with the adjustment, you click on this check mark to accept the transform. We still need to make another duplicate. Then we have to come to layer right here. We right click on the layer. Then we make sure we look for duplicate layer. So this one right here can be rectangle 3, and we click on OK. So this rectangle 3 right here, we need to make sure that this rectangle 1 and rectangle 3, we have to click on the thumbnail right here, and we need to change the color for a proper differentiation. Okay, so we have to look for rectangle 2. Then we go to edit from the home tab right here. We look for our free transform, or you press Ctrl T on your keyboard. You are going to be fine. Not this layer. So this is the third layer. Then it should be rectangle 1. Then we go to edit, then free transform, and we have to adjust this to the top a little bit. So we maintain the same interval, just like what you see right here. So once you're satisfied with the adjustment, you have to come to the top right here and click on this check mark to accept the transform. So we have it this way. All right, so at this point here, what we need to do now is that we need to transfer this particular shape into this page right here. But before we do that, we need to make sure that we group them all together. So we have to start from the background shape. Then we press Shift key on my keyboard right here, and then we come down below here. We make sure we click on group. Now this, once we group it, what we need to do right here is to make a duplicate. So we have to right click, and then we make sure we look for duplicate group. So this can be group 2, and we click on OK. So what we want to do right here now is to go to the home tab right here. We go to select, then we make sure we click on all. Having select all, what we want to do next is that we need to align this to the right edge, the duplicate one. Once it's aligned to the right edge, then we have to go back to the home tab right here. We make sure we click on select, and make sure we click on deselect. All right, so at this point here, we need to make some rotation. So for us to do that, we have to go back to our home tab right here. We go to edit, and we make sure we look for our free transform. Then having looked for a free transform, we have to right click on the shape, and we need to flip to vertical. So we have something like this. So we still have to right click again and flip to horizontal. Boom. So we have something like this. Okay. So at this point now, once we satisfy with this adjustment, we have to come to the top right here, and we'll click on this check mark to accept the transform. All right. So what we want to do next here is that we need to bring out these two duplicates right here. Okay. So we need to duplicate these two duplicates right here. We need to bring them out. So I have to click on this layer. Then we have to pick on these two layer right here. So what I'm going to do right here is that I'm going to press Ctrl key down, and I will make a duplicate of this. Then I'll press Ctrl J to make a duplicate. Then I will group them, the duplicate one. Then what I'm going to do next is that I will come to the group right here. I'm going to close this group. Then I will come right here. I will make sure I create a new layer. Then I will fall back to this group right here. I will make sure I ungroup it. Then this group right here, which is group 3, I will drag it all over into the new layer right here. Then I'll come back here and make sure I group the layer. Now this two group layer, I will have to go to my home tab right here. We click on edit. Then I will make sure I click on select, and I make sure I click on all. Then I have to align this to the center right here. Then I will have to make sure I align to the top. Okay. Then I will have to make sure that I go back to select and make sure I deselect. All right. So at this point here, we need to press Ctrl T to open the transform tools. Then I have to take this to the top a little bit. once we satisfy with the adjustment, we come to the top right here and we click on this check mark to accept the transform. Then we have to go back to the select right here. We'll make sure we click on all. Then for a proper alignment to the center, we have to select on this. Then we go back to select and we make sure we deselect. Okay. Right now, we still need to make another duplicate of this particular shape right here. So we have to come back to the layer panel right here. When I click on the layer panel, then we have to look for duplicate group. So this can be group 4 right here. So group 4, and I'm going to click on OK. This group 4 right here, we have to go back to the home tab right here. We go to select and we make sure we click on all. So this one, this duplicate, we have to align it at the bottom right here. So having aligned it at the bottom, then we have to make sure that we go back to select and we deselect. Now the next thing we need to do is to go to edit and then we look for free transform. So right now we have to right click on the shape and we make sure we flip to vertical. So we have something like this. Then we make sure we flip to horizontal. We have something like this. Then we have to drag the shape downward a little bit. Then the next thing we need to do is to go to the home tab right here. We go back to select. We make sure we select all, and we give it a proper alignment to the horizontal center. Then we go back to select again, and we make sure we deselect. So we're done. So next thing we want to do is that we make sure that these two groups right here, we take the group 4 and group 3, we take it to the background layer. So we have to fall back to the layer right here, layer panel, and we drag the group 3 and we take it to the bottom. Then group 4, we take it to the bottom also. So we have them in this way. All right. So the next thing we're going to do right here is to insert our picture to our brochure. So we can start from this particular shape right here. So having select on this shape, we have to go to the home tab right here. We go to file and we make sure we click on place embedded. Once we adjust the picture in a proper way, we have to come back to the layer panel right here. And we have to right click on the layer. Then we make sure we click on create clipping mask. Then we have to repeat the same process right here. We select on this layer. Then we go to the file from the home tab right here. We make sure we click on place embedded. Once we satisfy with the picture, we come to the layer right here. We right click on the layer again and we make sure we click on create clipping mask. All right, so we have to locate this group right, this shape right here. So we need to give it a proper alignment. So we go to select all and align to the left. Then we go back to select and we deselect. So at this point now, the next thing to do here is to add appropriate color to our brochure. So we can start from here and I'm going to select on the layer. Then we come to the layer thumbnail right here. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. So right here, you can see the color code I use right here. I will highlight all the color code. I will right click and I'll make sure I copy it. Then I'll click on OK right here. Then I have to locate this layer. Then I will come to the layer thumbnail. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then I will come to the color right here. I will make sure I highlight this. I will right click. Then I'll paste the code. Then I'll click on OK. So we have to add color to some of this rest of the shape. So we can start from here also. And this one right here, I will come to the layer thumbnail. I will double click on layer thumbnail and I will pick the color from here. So you can see the color code right here. I will highlight the color code. Right click, I'll make sure I copy and I'll click on OK. So I have to locate this particular shape right here. Then I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then right here, I will make sure I highlight this, right click, then paste the color code. And I'll come here and click on OK. So we have it this way. I'll make sure I select on this, then double click on the layer thumbnail. Then I'll come here, I'll make sure I press Ctrl V to paste the code, and I'll click on OK. Then I have to select on this. I'll double click on the layer thumbnail. Then right here, I'll make sure I highlight this and Ctrl V to paste the color code, and I'm going to click on OK. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do right here is to fall back to the second shape right here. And this time around, I'm going to make use of gradients. So I have to right click this time around, and I'm going to get to the blending options. Then right here, I will have to look for double click on the gradient overlay. I'm going to have something like this. Then what I'm going to do is to make sure I reverse. Then right here, I will make sure I paste the color code, and I'll click on OK. So I'm going to copy this color code right here. I'm going to click on OK. Then right here, I'll click on OK. Then I have to scale down from here. All right, so I'm going to click on OK right here. So I have to make sure I select on this particular shape now. I'll come to the layer thumbnail. I'll double click on the layer thumbnail. Then this time around, I have to paste the color code right here. Ctrl A to highlight, Ctrl V to paste the color code. And I'm going to click on OK right here. And I have to select on this. And I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then Ctrl A, Ctrl V to paste the color code. And I'll click on OK. So the next thing I'm going to do is to locate this particular shape right here. I will right click on it, and I'll go to blending options, then gradient overlay. So I'm going to make use of this particular gradient right here. So I have to adjust it in a proper way. So reverse. Then I'll click on OK. So at this point now, the next thing to do to this brochure here is to add text and icon to our brochure.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life.